All right, welcome back. Another solo episode. Today's topic is how to stand out, given by Jeordie. Thank you for the suggestion, Jeordie. I am not really feeling it today, and I want to say that just because transparency. Why not? You don't always feel it. You're not always excited. You're not always hungry to work, and it's one of those days. But I'm going to turn it on for you guys. And bang this episode out and try and give as much value as possible, because it's like training. If you don't feel it, well, show up anyway. Get it done. Or listen to the burnout episode. That's probably better advice to take. So we're going to talk about how to stand out. How to stand out, and I'm talking about like coaching mainly, but you could apply these same principles to lifting, I guess. The bigger question really is, why should you stand out? Why does it even matter? Like, before you get to how you should do it, it's kind of like, why? What matters? And so when I say stand out, it doesn't necessarily mean having to stand out by having 100,000 followers on Instagram, for example. And I think a lot of people get that mistaken. They equate high following to high business success. And I've worked with a lot of people with big social media followings that don't have great business success. So the two aren't necessarily synonymous. You can monetize a greater following and you can potentially use it to your advantage, but it's not automatic. It doesn't always work like that. And there are certain trade-offs that come with that many eyes being on you. So when I'm talking about standing out, I'm not necessarily talking about growing a following. That can be considered part of it for sure, but that's not specifically or explicitly what I'm talking about. So we need to understand why it matters to stand out. And the big reason it matters why is to basically showcase you, to showcase your unique selling point, your point of difference. So we're talking coaching, and we're talking coaching powerlifting. I mean, really, programming, technique, yeah, sure, there's micro differences in that stuff, but you're really kind of buying the same product. Look at it like fast food, right? You're looking for a cheap, easy, quick eat. So then you've got unique selling points. Well, there are a whole bunch of different burger joints. You're going to get a burger from McDonald's. You're going to get a burger from Hungry Jack's or Burger King, whatever you call it, wherever you are. You're going to get the same essential product from these things, but they're going to be slightly different. And you're going to have a preference for which one you want and which one you want at that particular point in time. That's going to be the point of difference, right? So how do you create your unique selling point of difference in a very saturated market, more and more saturated since the explosion of online coaching, for sure? You need to be able to stand out. But then it kind of begs the next big question. So we've gone a few layers deep. It's not just like how to stand out, why to stand out, but then it's like, who do you need to stand out to? Because who you need to stand out to will sort of define the why, and that will then in turn define the how as well. That is really kind of marketing 101. It's about standing out to the people that you need to stand out to, if we're talking about it from a business perspective. And that's what we are. We're talking about it from a being seen for the sake of increasing your coaching business. Because again, you can be a huge lifter with a huge following and not stand out as a coach because of X number of reasons. It doesn't automatically equate to having a big business. Like when I had 250 clients to myself as a coach between the gym and online coaching, I had a personal following on Instagram of like less than 2,000 people. My gym had even less than that. You don't have to be huge on social media, but you have to have the right people seeing your message and hearing your message that are willing to buy that thing from you. And again, this is marketing 101. If you get nerdy on marketing and you go on a deep dive, basically you can split marketing up into the 3 M's of marketing. The 3 M's of marketing are your market, your message, and your media. Your media is, of course, like the actual means you use to get stuff out to the people that you're trying to talk to. So social media, are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? Are you on TikTok? Are you on X? Are you on LinkedIn? Wherever you are, that's your media. And of course, then the actual media you use, are you using photos, are you using videos, etc. That's the media you're using. The message is the copy, like the language that you're using. And in the ideal marketing space, it should feel like the person reading your message feels like they are being spoken to as an individual. They should feel like they're connecting with the message that you have, which is why having hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers doesn't actually matter, because if your message doesn't speak to any of them individually, no one's going to buy anything from you. I've seen this time again with coach development. So when I make a coach development post, either on the Zero page or on my own personal Instagram, lowest engagement. I make a funny post, 20, 30, 40, however many tens of thousands of views, sometimes over 100,000 views, heaps of comments. I don't get people flooding my inbox wanting to get coached or wanting to buy anything. When I make a coach development post, normally like less than 100 likes, next to no shares, next to no comments. But those posts make the most money. They translate into the most business. And so it's just about speaking to the right the right people if you want to stand out to them. Understanding their language is a huge part of that. You have to understand where they're at. You have to understand their pains, their aspirations, what they're trying to be, who they're trying to be, what they've been through, what they're going through, and how to guide them through that process to come out of the other side with what they want to be. And as somebody who's involved in coaching, you should be able to do that. Like, these should be the problems that you solve. They should either represent what you've been through as a coach or what you've helped people through as a coach time and time again. And learning the art of crafting that message is extremely important when it comes to having to stand out. The third M of marketing is then, of course, the market, and this is just your target market. So getting really, really specific and defined as to who your market is. Saying something like powerlifters is too broad. You can't have a market that's just powerlifters. As a coach, that doesn't make sense because there are tens, if not hundreds of thousands of powerlifters around the world, and there are far better coaches than you, most likely listening to this. Don't take offense to that. There's just like, if we're talking all powerlifters, that means we're talking comparison to all powerlifting coaches. That's not good. You want to niche down. You want to get into the weeds in terms of who is your ideal market, who is that person, and be specific about it. That means being specific about age ranges, genders, struggles, life, sort of life experience, or where they're at in life, stage of life is what I'm trying to say. Careers, you might niche down into, like, we're around the corner from the hospital. We get a lot of nurses come and train here. Maybe your niche is nurses who are nurses at a busy hospital in the ED department. Like, that is a very powerful niche, because if you understand the struggles, the pains, the problems, the experiences of these people, and you know how to craft programming, coaching, a message, a framework that helps them despite where they're at, they'll be more inclined to come to you than to come to me, who's a coach that has a very specific niche, which is just like really strong people or people that are willing to pay my exorbitant prices because I can't really take people on. So I charge more. That's a very specific niche, and that's the reality of it. So understanding who your people are is going to inform how you talk to them, and also going to inform the kind of media that you use to reach them. You can have the best understanding of your target market in the world. You can have the best message to send to that target market. But if you throw it at a media that no one uses in your target market, it's useless. You put it in a newspaper on a Sunday and your target market is a 21-year-old, they're not going to read the Sunday paper. Hardly anyone's going to read the Sunday paper. So you have to have all these things down pat and have a very unique and in-depth understanding of those things. So like I said, the who is really going to inform the why. The why is, again, about showcasing your point of difference. Again, there are so many coaches out there, and we're all kind of doing the same thing. So what is your point of difference? And point of difference being maybe the niche you work with, the results you get, whatever it is. I want to, if I sidestep for a minute and talk about education. Education, which is part of a coach's job. So it's not even really sidestepping. It's on the same theme. The art of being a good educator is taking information that you have not synthesized. It already exists. Someone else has done all the work. The art of the educator is just packaging it and delivering it in a way that an audience understands. So you look at all the educators on a subject, you're going to gravitate towards somebody more than another person because of the way they deliver it. So think of someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Whatever you think about him and his controversies and all that over the years. But granted, Neil deGrasse Tyson has packaged something that shouldn't be that exciting in an exciting way to deliver it to people that are generally not interested in that subject because it's a very complicated subject, astrophysics. So people have developed an interest in this subject because the educator has taken the same information that all the lecturers, all the professionals, all the academics have and just packaged it and presented it in a different or better way. Same thing with coaching, right? Exactly the same thing. You're delivering programming and you're delivering technique. How you present it as your unique selling point is going to change the way that people perceive that same thing and inform the decision they make from a spending decision making. Inform the decision they make from a spending perspective. It's going to help determine if they're going to buy from you or not. So like part of, I'll use myself as an example so you know that I'm not just talking out of my ass, right? Part of my unique selling point is the fact that I'm a busy guy, in air quotes, whatever busy means to you. I do a lot of things, right? So I got a bunch of gyms. I'm involved in a bunch of federations. I got a bunch of staff. I've got a lot of things on my plate. And coaching is one of those things on my plate, and I don't do much of it. I don't have a long client list just by virtue of the fact that I don't have a lot of time to dedicate to it. And so if you contact me for coaching, the email that I send back, it's very nice, but it's actually kind of anti-sales. I'm not trying to get you to sign up with me. I'm telling you, hey, my team is really good. My team is just as good as me. If I didn't tell you it wasn't me on the other end, you wouldn't know anything otherwise. That's how good they are. In many ways, my team is better than me because I'm a slow communicator. I assign a check-in day and I'll respond within a time frame around that check-in day every time. But outside of that, I don't talk back and forth very much just by virtue of the fact that I don't have a great deal of time. So like there's a lot of negatives compared to the rest of my team with going with me as a coach. That in and of itself makes it appealing. People want what is hard to get a lot of the times, and that's represented in the price as well. So my unique selling point is that I'm hard to get into. I reject a lot of clients. No, I don't reject a lot of clients. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But as time goes on, I'm defining more and more a criteria that I'm okay with working with because I love coaching. I absolutely love it. And because my time is so limited, now I have to do the opposite. When I started out, I had to take anyone that I could. Now I have to do the opposite, and I can only take on people that I really want to take on, which I really want to take on everyone, but I have to work with people who are really, that I am willing to work with because of the fact that I don't have as much time. So it's an interesting place to be. And I'll just say this, just in case you're thinking it, because a lot of people would automatically think, oh, that's the really big, strong lifters. Being big and strong is appealing, for sure. I like working with really strong people and solving those problems. But really, my most exciting times as a coach is working with people who have either unique problems to solve, but more than that, are really, really, really committed to being coached. That's my favorite person to work with. So I work with people who aren't the best in the world, who aren't squatting, even high 200s. They might be squatting low 200s or something like that. I work with several people who aren't considered elite powerlifters that I love working with because they're super committed to the process. That's part of my criteria. Anyway, I don't want to talk about me too much, but you got to remember, again, you're selling programming, coaching, technique, that kind of stuff. Really, what people are wanting to buy, because they can buy that anywhere from any coach, they want to buy you as part of that package deal. So the why you need to stand out is so you can showcase who the person is that's coming with that package deal. That's part of the reason, because I'm shit at Instagram. As you know, if you follow me, I post hardly anything. Sometimes Meg has to basically hold a gun to my head to get me to post something, because I talk about making posts whether they're funny or serious, and I just don't do it. I can't be bothered. I don't enjoy it. But I do stuff like this because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy giving out information. I like talking to a camera. I like podcasting. And this gives me an opportunity to showcase who I am and how I think. And people find that appealing. Not necessarily about me. I'm saying in general, people like learning about you. People want to see what you do and how you think and how you approach coaching. And even as far as your life, people want to know what you eat day to day and what you do. So post that sort of stuff. And you watch other people and you're like, I don't need to see this guy and his breakfast. That guy and his breakfast has that selling point to his people. And I guarantee the people that follow you and enjoy your stuff want to know more about you, whether it's life, whether it's coaching, whether it's philosophy, anything. They're buying you as part of the package. That is a huge part of the why it's important to try and stand out. And again, not grow a massive following, not sell out to the Instagram gods, but stand out to the people who are potentially going to buy for you. Being more visible and people knowing about you in that sense helps you stand the test of time. So again, use myself as an example. I got known very early on in the piece in my coaching journey, like before Instagram was a thing for coaching, as like a bit of a technique nerd. So that became my thing. And I became a little bit of I stood out as being like the technique guy. And that's kind of hung with me because I guess in part it's true. I do love technique. So that became a unique selling point for me. And because I established that as a bit of a reputation, it's helped me weather storms over the years, because people come to me, over the years, people have come to me, especially when they've tried this coach and that coach, they've tried this program and that program, stuff has stalled, and they've sort of thought, well, I've never done a deep dive into technique. Let me try Thomas. And so being visible and having people aware of who you are and your unique selling points will help you weather the seasonal nature of coaching. People come and go. Your clients that are with you now may not be with you in 5 years. It's very cyclical. So again, coming back to then, okay, well, there's the why, there's the who, the how. Well, we've really now spoken about the how, right? The how is just taking your understanding of your market, of your media, of your message, of how to reach this target market, having a unique understanding of who they are, packaging that together with your unique selling points and putting it out there to the world. And so the how is inherent in all of that stuff. So if all your people are on TikTok, there's your how. Present on TikTok who you are, your unique selling point. If it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, whatever. Present it to your people. Find them and present who you are to those people. And again, it's not necessarily just knowledge sharing. I think that's where people really go wrong when it comes to coaching. They're like, I'm posting content, no one's signing up. They're just posting, this is the important part of a program. Remember what people are buying from you as well. Yes, they're buying you as a person, your programming, your coaching, but really what they're buying is the result. So you have to then take, okay, here's my program, here's my coaching, here's my unique selling point, here's me as an individual. How does all that culminate together to produce the outcome that a potential client actually wants? And that means talking about results like crazy, showing results, posting testimonials all the time, week in, week out. That is what's important. And you have to remember, if you make one post and it doesn't do well, who cares? People forget about it the next day. And it's about consistent exposure. In marketing nerdy lingo land, it's something like 14 to 17 exposures before somebody even makes a decision. So they might have to have exposure to you 14 to 17 times before they even hit follow, before they make that decision, let alone sign up for coaching. And again, reflect on your own experience. I've done this recently. Recently, I've signed up to something that I've been marketed to like crazy for like 6 months. And it took me ages to be like, oh, this keeps showing up. It's kind of interesting. Okay, maybe I'll click. And I clicked. And then I kept getting it even more because now I've clicked on it. And then I watched a video. And then I kept ignoring it for a little while. And then I went a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole. And then I did a consult call. And then I signed up. It took me ages to get there. And I'm a person who knows what I want, and I know when I want it, and I want it fast, and everything's about efficiency these days for me. So like even I succumb to the reality of the science of marketing, advertising, and purchasing, right? And you are very much a part of that life cycle. So be consistent with it. Throw results out there constantly. Show up to competitions. A huge part of my growth as a coach was just making the effort, spending the outlay, creating a bit of a budget, creating justification to spend the money to fly to another state, another city, to hire a car, to stay in an Airbnb or find a friend to stay with, or buy some food for the weekend, whatever. Justifying that financial outlay has paid huge dividends in terms of just fostering a reputation as a coach that cares, a coach that's willing to be there. And to this day, I make that effort. And it's a little bit annoying that all my lifters are now huge lifters that go to international comps or in other countries. That's why I fly around so much, because I'm like, if I can make Grigsby's comp in Alabama, I'm going to do my best to be there. If I can make Lilley Riley's comp in Ireland, I'm going to do my best to be there. I can't always be there. I can't be in every single place all at once, but I always do my best to look after my clients when and where I can. And I've been like that from a very early time, and I believe that's a huge part of my coaching success through this time. And I strongly encourage you, be present at your lifters competitions. Oh, it's an hour drive away and it's only one client. Who cares? Go there anyway. It's not for you, it's for them. And inherently then it is for you. It's worth the effort. If you can't justify it because you can't be bothered going to a powerlifting comp, maybe you're not in the right job. Like, look at it like that. Make the effort. It is worth it. Like, you do this so that your clients can get a good result on the day. Why would you miss out on the opportunity to be there to guarantee that and to share in their success and their hard work? Anyway, the final thing I've made on my notes is just professionalism as well. Learning skills over the time to be professional. And I don't just mean in like back and forth communication, but this is like professional conduct. So not getting caught up in little games and back and forths and all the bullshit that you see happen on social media, not getting caught up in gossip and stories, just rising above and showcasing yourself as a professional is generally quite appealing to the average person. Now, don't get me wrong, plenty of people have a niche in controversy and have monetized it, but I don't think it's necessarily the best strategy. There's winning principles that I've spoken about here that could be extrapolated from those people and what they are doing, but it's certainly not just a defined go-to strategy. Anyway, hey, I'm glad I pushed myself through this because I really enjoyed that. So I hope you enjoyed it too, and I'll catch you at the next one.